I see you came back to hear my stories. How lovely. I was just reading the Grimm's fairy tales, and though I gave them the stories they wrote about, I'll tell you one, and you won't believe it. Once there was a girl named Rapunzel. Before she was even thought of, her parents were very poor. They could barely feed themselves. I remember her dad was so pathetic. Anyway, they wanted a child, but couldn't conceive. The wife, she had this weird thing with anything vegetables. And she looked out the back window, and there was a garden. And she was so entranced with the garden that she just had to have the Rapunzel in it. Her husband noticed that she was ill, and all she wanted was to eat the cabbage from this garden. So her husband, being the man he was, loved her so much. Please. He crawled down the back wall. He snuck into that garden. That garden belonged to an evil enchantress. Her name was Mother Gothel. That woman was not an enchantress. I knew her. That is beside the point. He snuck in, and lucky for him, Mother Gothel was out of the garden that evening. He brought it back to his ailing wife, and she enjoyed it immensely. She had a wonderful salad. But the next day, her appetite was insatiable. She craved it 3 times more than the day before. Well, you can imagine, Mr. I Love You climbed down the wall again. Only this time, he was met by Mistress Gothel, and she was angry. In her fury, he yelled, "Please, no, don't hurt me. My wife, you see, she's sick, and all she wants is some of your cabbage. And if she doesn't have it, surely she will die, and I will get no rest." Mother Gothel, her anger softened, and she looked at him and said, "If it's true what you say, then I'll make you a deal. Your wife can have all the cabbage you can carry, but the child that grows in her womb will be mine, and I will raise her as her mother." Now, if you knew Mistress Gothel, you would know that a mother, she was not a scoundrel, a thief, a fraud, a witch. Yes, mother, absolutely not. But the fool agreed, and he took his wife the cabbage she so loved, and I hope it was worth it to trade your only born child for cabbage. Seems a bit greedy. So, the moment the child was born, Mother Gothel showed up and said, "Ah, my dear Rapunzel, I will take her and raise her as my own." And she did. And as the child grew, Mother Gothel built a tower with neither door nor any entry or stairway to climb up to the top. Only a window where the child could look out and see the world. And her hair grew and grew, and Rapunzel was undoubtedly, unarguably, the most beautiful girl. She was 12 years of age. She was absolutely beautiful. And as she grew older, she developed a love of singing. I quite enjoyed being in the forest and hearing her melody. I wanted to be in her life. She was what you would call magic. Mother Gothel, on the other hand, would come see the girl every day. And she would stand under the window and she would say, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. And the young girl would do so, allowing her silky blonde hair to flow from the window. It was quite spectacular. Of course, I could have helped her. I, after all, can make trees grow from the ground up, but I was more interested to see what Gothel's plans were for this little, magical creature. And besides, I loved hearing her sing every day. So, Mother Gothel did this year after year. The child was incredibly sweet and kind, never questioning anything. And one day, my favorite day of all, a young boy, the king's son, was riding in the forest on his horse, and he heard her singing, and it entranced him. And as he listened to her, I watched him. I'd never seen someone so smitten. It was quite sickening. He wanted to find a way up to her. He loved her voice so much. He knew he had to have her. But he couldn't find a way up. So every day, he would come through the forest just to hear her sing. It was quite romantic. One day, while he was there, Mother Gothel came, and he hid just behind the tree. And I hid behind the rock, behind him. What happened next shocked the boy. Mother Gothel, once again, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. And what he saw was the most beautiful silk hair he'd ever seen. It looked like it was woven by angels. It really was magnificent. You should have been there. But you weren't, so I'm telling you, it was beautiful. Where was I? So this gave him the clue of what to do next. He waited till Gothel left, and he went under the window. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. And when she did, she was shocked to see the young man staring face to face with her. And he was even more in love with her face than he was her voice. He said, "Don't be afraid of me. I'm a friend. I listen to you every day. I love to hear you sing, and I love everything about you." The girl instantly trusted him. And he said, "I want to marry you. I want to take you away from here on horseback. You can live in my kingdom with me, and we shall be happy and free from this evil witch." Rapunzel said yes. Because let me tell you, loves, if she didn't, I would have. He was quite a tasty morsel. Anyway, on that note, Rapunzel told him, there's no way I can get down. So every day you come back, bring silk with you, and I will weave it like flax. And he agreed. And every day he did so. But one day Rapunzel said the wrong thing. Mother Gothel showed up. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. And as she lifted her to the top, Rapunzel made the dumbest mistake any child could ever make. She remarked, since you, Mother Gothel, are so heavy, and the young man, the king's son, you know him, he's so light, I think it would be easier to lift him up, and it will only take a second. Mother Gothel was angry. She had spent the whole time she had this girl hiding her from the rest of the world. She felt betrayed, which I loved, but she felt angry. Once that happened, things ensued. I was aghast. She took the girl's long, beautiful hair, wrapped it around her left hand, and cut it with her right. The beautiful braids fell to the ground. It was tragedy. Then she took the girl and she put her in a desert, never to see anyone again, to live in isolation alone. Lucky for her, I watched over her, especially when she had the twins. I couldn't leave her. I mean, I know I'm a fairy and I'm not supposed to interfere, but she was alone and she had babies. And everyone knows fairies are suckers for babies. What happened next really was tragic. The young man showed up thinking Rapunzel was still in her tower. Only Mother Gothel was there, and when he said, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair, the hair let down. For you see, Mother Gothel hooked it to the window and lowered it. And imagine his surprise when he got up. And there it was. Mother Gothel staring him in the face. Your little canary will no longer sing to you. She is no longer here. She is alone and shall ever for more be alone. Imagine his broken heart. And then she said the unthinkable. I shall kill you too. Before she could get her hands on him, he leapt from the window, and this evil witch put a spell. May your eyes be jabbed out. As he fell, the thorns from the roses went into his eyes, blinding him. He wandered aimlessly for years. I would put berries on the side and water. He never knew I was there. I didn't want him to. If I got caught helping people, the elven community would disown me. I might have led him to Rapunzel. And when I did, he heard her voice. She embraced him. And the tears from her eyes healed his. I might have enchanted those tears, I won't lie to you. I might have found Mother Gothel's book of witchcraft and put a little spell myself. Every tear Rapunzel cried in sadness would cause Mother Gothel the pain of 1,000,000 needles going into her body. But those same tears in joy had the power to heal. Mother Gothel got what was coming to her. You see, I hope she loved that garden because I buried her in it. I regret nothing. And as the Grimm brothers wrote in their story, they left some of the gory details out because no one wants to see elves as the bad guy. But sometimes we have to be. And I know what you're thinking. You shouldn't get involved in things that aren't your business. And I'm sure that the elven community would agree. But could you stand in the way of true love? I know I wouldn't. So remember, my dear magical creatures, when in doubt, a fairy is about. Stay mythically magical, my loves.